Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're doing my top 50 players in the NBA. We've done top 10 point guards, top 10 shooting guards, top 10 small forwards, top 10 power forwards, top 10 centers, and now we're finally at the top 50 players list. Now, this is going to be not just a combination of all the top 10s from every position, but also some new players that maybe didn't make the top 10 in their position, but they're top 50 in the NBA because some of the positions are just super stacked right now. And yeah, this is my personal top 50 list. I did this last year, and now we're doing it again this year, and we're going to get into it. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitters, all that stuff down in the description below. And like I said in all the other ranking videos, this is my personal opinion. If you disagree, that's okay. Leave it down in the comment section what you would change, what your list would look like, and stuff like that. Feel free to. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time because it's probably going to be a long video. So let's get right into it. Starting off the list at 50, the 50th best player in the NBA, we have Franz Wagner of the Orlando Magic. Wagner last year averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on 48, 28, 85 shooting. And in the playoffs last year, he averaged almost 19 points and almost 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block on 40, 26, 88 shooting. Wagner, the thing that really sticks out is the three-point shooting, because besides that, he had a career high in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. It was just the efficiency wasn't great, particularly the three-point shooting, where he was a 35 and 36% three-point shooter his first 2 years, and last year was 28%. And then the playoffs got even worse, down to 26%, which is unlike Franz, and I don't expect that to last. I expect him to come back next season and be back around 35, 36%, maybe even 37, like we're used to seeing. But Wagner's just one of those guys where you just would love to have him on your team. He just, what you're going to get from him every single night. A guy that can put the ball on the floor, really good at driving to the basket and finishing around the basket, has the confidence, isn't afraid to take the shot, but also is not a guy that you need to give the ball to and let him dribble for 12 times. He's not a guy that you need to give him the ball in order for him to make an impact. He's a guy that can impact without the ball. He can catch a shoot. He can catch it one dribble, 1 or 2 dribbles, get to the paint or get to the mid range. Defensively, he's going to be very solid as well. Just one of those guys that he's improved every single year. Looking at his numbers, he's improved his numbers every single season, and I expect next year for him to be even better. And just one of those guys that you just love to have in your team because you know what you're going to get from him on a consistent basis. A really good second or third option, a guy that maybe even can sneak into an all-star game for a year or two. If he can get up to a 22, 23 point per game score, which I think is really possible after he averaged 19 last year on bad three-point shooting. If that three-point shooting becomes average, he's probably a 20-something point per game score. Franz is just a really, really good player to have on your team, especially as a second or third option, because you know what you're going to get from him every single night. At 49, on the top 50 players list, we have Jalen Williams of the OKC Thunder. Williams last year averaged 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and a steal on 54, 42, 81 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 47, 38, 81 shooting. Jalen Williams had an amazing season last year after having a really, really good rookie year, finished second in rookie of the year, and then comes back even better, finished top 5 in MIP voting. Just having a really good season. What really sticks out is the efficiency. 54% from the field, 42% from 3, from a 6'5" forward is insane. Especially because he's a guy that doesn't just attack the rim all the time. He's a guy that can get to the mid-range, loves the mid-range pull-up, the three-point shot. It's just ridiculous the efficiency he had last season. He's just one of those guys that if he gets to a spot, he's going to make it. Like if he gets to that mid-range pull-up, it's most likely it's going in. That three-point shot, if you leave him open for a second, it's going in. Someone that does it in the flow of the offense as well. He doesn't need the ball and like, all right, everybody clear out, my turn. Even though he probably can do that, but also he just does it in the flow and the efficiency of the offense and does it really, really efficiently, which is what makes it so well. And he can do it on the defensive end. He can make good passes. Just a really good all-around basketball player. J-Dub is. And he's probably going to be in all-star conversations for the next couple of years of his career. One, because the OKC Thunder, you assume, are going to be one of the best teams in the league for the next couple of years to come because of their age. And number 2, because his play. His play just keeps rising and rising, and I can't wait to see how much better he gets coming to this season as he's still only 23 years old. So just incredible to see J-Dub what he's done throughout his first 2 years of his career, where no one really expected it when he got drafted out of Santa Clara. No one expected this really to come, but he is just such a really, really good basketball player. At 48 on the top 50 player list, we have Chet Holmgren of the OKC Thunder. Holmgren last year averaged 16.5 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks on 53, 37, 79 shooting. And then in the playoffs, he averaged 15 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2.5 blocks on 49, 26, 75 shooting. Holmgren had a really, really good season coming off a year where he did not play his rookie year. His official should have been rookie year due to injury. And then coming in last season and playing all 82 games for one, very, very impressive, especially for a guy of his frame where a lot of people thought he was going to be injury prone and, missing his first year due to a foot injury was not really helping that case. But he came in and played all 82 games. It just was better than expected. I mean, maybe we expected this type of Chet Holmgren a couple years down the line, but I don't think we expected Chet Holmgren to be this impactful this early, where we defensively be able to block shots, being one of the best defensive players. Didn't make all defensive team, which is interesting, but then again, he is a rookie. But making all defensive team, or should have made he had a good case to make all defensive team, but the way he defended not only the interior, but being able to move his feet on the perimeter is pretty nice. But the offense really was impressive. I mean, his comfortability to shoot the three ball, shot 37%, really nice clip for a center, and then shooting the ball at the rim and being comfortable driving to the rim and even getting to the mid range and stuff and not forcing it really. Also getting it in the flow of the offense with OKC and doing it in an efficient way was really, really nice. And his impact on winning, really. I mean, statistically didn't have as crazy of a season as a lot of other guys you're going to see on this list, but his impact to the game already at 21 years old was just so amazing on both ends of the ball. And you assume that he's only going to get better and better with time and that he's going to be one of the best big men in the league and probably one of the best, most impactful big men in the league in terms of what he can do on both ends of the ball. At number 47 on the top 50 player list, we have Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans Pelicans. Ingram last season averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 49, 35, 80 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal and a block on 34, 25, 89 shooting. Brandon Ingram, even though statistically did not have an amazing season as we usually see, actually it was his worst statistical season since being a Pelican. The 20 points is the lowest since being a Laker. Rebounds 5.1, lowest in a couple years. The assists were nice. The assists were the second most in his career. The 3-point shooting 35%, pretty low. 80% for the free throw line, pretty low. So not a great statistical season. And then when he gets to the playoffs, he had a really, really tough series against the OKC Thunder. Against Lou Dort, who was one of the best defenders, against one of the best defenses, and without Zion Williamson as their number one option. And he was also injured at the end of last season and came right back into a playoff series. So you don't expect him to be superstar Brandon Ingram at that point. But BI, a lot of the conversation right now is about the trade, his potentially being traded and coming in last year of his contract and what he's going to get and what team's going to take him and the Pelicans just being in this weird spot with him. But don't get him messed up. Brandon Ingram is still a really, really talented player. I mean, look at his years in New Orleans, consistent 23 to 24 points per game with 5 rebounds and about 5 assists. Pretty solid efficiency. Like, Brandon Ingram is one of those guys. You give it to him late in game. He's really good there. Really good at playmaking. He's become very, very good at playmaking. I think one of the more underrated playmakers for his position. That rebounding is going to go do well. He's going to be able to he's handled the ball really well. He can get to the mid range, get to the free throw line, the 3-point shooting. You would like to see him maybe catch and shoot a little bit more. I'd like to see him maybe take more. Last year, 3.8 was the lowest since being a Pelican. You like to see him take more threes, but he's still like a all-star caliber player. He still is a really all-star caliber player. It's just, the trade scenario and all that stuff surrounding him right now is kind of taking that away from BI. But BI is still an all-star level player, and I can't wait to see, what happens with him if he does stay a Pelican. Who's going to pay him? Because he is definitely in that weird spot where he's not a superstar, but he's not, he's kind of like a guy that you have to start. And you have to kind of make him your second or third guy. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with his situation. But Brandon Ingram is still an all-star caliber player. At number 46 on the list, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. Jaren last year averaged 22.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block on 44, 32, 80 shooting. Jaren, even though the Grizzlies did have a bad year last year, Ja played 9 games. Desmond Bane got injured. The whole team basically was injured. Jaren, still played. He played 66 games, so which is, respect to him, but also had a career year. I mean, he was the number one option for Memphis, so it kind of was hard not to have this type of year. But I was honestly pretty impressed with Jaren. I was pretty impressed with the way that he showed he was the number one option and the way he kind of, I guess, quote unquote, carried this Grizzlies team, even though they didn't really win a lot of games. But Jaren was still really good. The way he was able to create his own shot, getting into the mid range, attacking, getting to the rim, putting the ball on the floor a lot more than we've seen from him. And of course, the 3-point shooting we know is going to be there, even though he wasn't the most efficient. It was, he took the most of his career the second most of his career, and probably weren't as open shots as he usually gets. But seeing Jaren do this honestly kind of made me impressed and maybe even more excited for the Grizzlies next year when everyone's back. Because if Jaren can have, statistically, he's probably going to go down. He's probably not going to average 22 points per game. The shots, 17 per game, probably going to go back down to 13, which is usually is. But if he can have this type of moments and he could be a threat in this regard in terms of putting the ball on the floor and getting his own while already having John Desmond Bane, two guys that can give you 20, 22, or Ja even more, like 25 points per game. Having another guy that can give you 20 points per game on a consistent basis, that just makes this team even more harder to guard and opens up things a lot more for the rest of this team. So Jaren, I was honestly pretty impressed with the way he handled last season. At 45 on the top 50 player list, we have Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons. Cunningham last year averaged 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 7.5 assists on 45, 35, 87 shooting. Cade, he only played 12 games in 2023, which is pretty disappointing because he had a really solid rookie year and wanted to see him in a second year. But, very excited to see him come into this year, and he played good. Now, the team, we know what happened there with the team, but Cade had a really, really good season. It's just unfortunately kind of get overshadowed because the Pistons were god awful. But I mean, he had a career highs in points, assists, shooting. I mean, he had a career season everywhere except for rebounding, which was a career low. But everywhere else, career high: 22 points, 7.5 assists, efficiency, especially the 3-point shooting. Where coming into the NBA, a big question for him was his 3-point shot. How good is that going to get? And then his first 2 years, he shot 31% as a rookie and then 28% in the 12 games he played in 23. But then becoming a 35% 3-point shooter on 5 attempts, especially given the fact that most of his shots are probably very contested, where he's on a team where he's kind of the only option and everything is about guarding him. Shooting that is pretty nice. It's really encouraging. And for him to have the season he had, again, with the situation where he's kind of the only guy that you really kind of have to guard on the Detroit Pistons. He had a really, really good season last year, and I'm very, very excited to see the progression of him. He just got paid, which is well deserved, and I think he really can become a superstar. I mean, he has all the tools. A big guard that can handle the ball really well. I love the pace he plays with. That's one of the first things I fell in love with him with Cade, was the pace he played with at such a young age. Of just you feel like when he has the ball in his hands, you feel like he knows what he's doing. You feel confident, like, oh, he's gonna get it done. And he can do that. The mid-range game is good. And the 3-point shot could become similar to what he did last year. That's a really good sign. The way he can play make. I mean, he still averaged 7.5 assists on that team. The rebounding, the defense, like all of it just looks like Cade is going to be a future star. It's really just going to be about, can the rest of the team do anything with him? But he definitely will be I feel like he will be in All-Star conversations next year. Will he get there? Again, I don't think so because the team probably isn't going to be a playoff team. But he's an All-Star caliber player and is on track to be one of the best guards we have in the league. At number 44 on the top 50 player list, we have Jrue Holiday of the Boston Celtics. Holiday last year averaged 12.5 points, 5 rebounds, and almost 5 assists on 48, 43, 83 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 13 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal on 50, 40, 95 shooting. A really good year for Jrue Holiday. First year in Boston, just kind of doing his thing. Honestly, he's one of those guys where I kind of forgot he's in Boston early in the season, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Jrue Holiday over there. And then the playoffs, he really showed his worth. Just a guy that is one of the best role players and ultimate winning players in the league. Defensively, he's going to do. He made all defensive second team, finished number 6 in DPOY voting last year. He's been in the top 10 the last 4 seasons. And even though statistically this was not a good year, everybody on this list is going to have better numbers statistically than Jrue Holiday. He was a 4th option on a team, but still, at 33, 34 years old, you don't expect Jrue to have years where he's averaging 19, 20 points per game like he did a couple years ago. But when it comes to impact in the game, when it comes to winning games, there's not many people I'm taking over Jrue Holiday. He's one of those guys that defensively he's going to give you. Offensively, he's going to do his job. If he needs to be a ball handler that night, he needs to play make, he's going to do it. He needs to be, guarding the best player on the other team, he's going to do it. Needs to be a corner shooter, he's going to do it. You need him to score 15 to 20 points, he's going to do it. One of those guys where no matter what you ask him, he's going to do it. And then last year, 43% from three, his best season shooting the three ball. And the playoffs, 50, 40, 90 shooting, 13, 6, and 4, winning a championship, just ultimate things with Drew Holiday. Then, of course, in the Team USA Olympic run, just doing his thing as well. He's just one of those guys, again, when we want to build a winning team, there's not many people you're taking over him. At 43 on the list, we have Mikal Bridges. Played with the Nets last year. Now he's a New York Knick. Bridges last season averaged 19 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on 43, 37, 81 shooting. Bridges, when he first got to Brooklyn, he had that 26 point per game explosion last year, and we thought, how real is it? And last year he came into last season, and it's not real. He's not that type of player, which is okay because he's one of the best glue players in the league, where he was at his best in Phoenix. Still had a really good statistical season, but you can definitely tell he's not a number one option. But still a really, really good pickup by the New York Knicks. Defensively, you know what he's going to bring you. He's one of the best defensive wings we have in the league. And then offensively, he's going to be able to shoot three ball at a pretty consistent rate. For his entire career, he's been about average to above average 3-point shooter. He's going to fit in where he gets in where he fits in. Not going to really disturb the offense or anything like that. He doesn't need all the shots because you know what he's going to bring you on the defensive end. And anything that he brings you on offense is just a bonus. And now that he has that experience of being a number one option, now he can come to New York, and if there's some nights where Julius Randle doesn't have it, or he's not playing, or Jalen Brunson doesn't really have it that night, he's a guy that can go off and give you 20, 25, maybe even more points if you need him to. So he already has that kind of confidence and already has that experience. So Mikal, that was just an amazing pickup from New York. Can't wait to see how he plays out over there, and just one of the better role players we have in the league. At 42 on the list, we have OG Anunoby of the New York Knicks. Anunoby last year averaged 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal on 49, 38, 75 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 15 points, 6 rebounds, and assists and a block on 50, 41, 61 shooting. OG just felt like the Knicks just reached another level when OG got to the Knicks. Like when he got there, the Knicks didn't lose much when OG was playing. He only played 50 games. Injuries have been a thing for OG the last couple years, and the playoffs, unfortunately, got hurt, which kind of messed up the Knicks getting into the conference finals. But OG, when he's on the court, the Knicks are just a better team. The energy he brings in the defensive end just changes games when he's there. And he's high on the list, and a lot of other guys that statistically had better seasons than him, but the impact he brings to the game, and the way he has impacted the Knicks has just been so huge. Where, again, defensively, he goes on the court, he's a menace over there, and he just changes games. On the offensive end, if he can give you the type of numbers he's doing where he's shooting 38% from three, he could have nights where he has 20 to 25 points. That's huge for the Knicks. And now he's got paid, now he's comfortable. Hopefully he can have some healthy years with the Knicks, because when he's out there on the court, the Knicks are just a better team, plain and simple. At number 41 on the list, we have DeJounte Murray he played with the Hawks last year, now he's a New Orleans Pelican. Murray last year averaged 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal on 46, 36, 79 shooting. Now, the DeJounte Murray situation in Atlanta didn't really work out the way they expected it to, which can't really blame Atlanta for trying, but it just didn't work out. And now he's in New Orleans, which I'm very excited. I think he's going to have a really, really nice year in New Orleans. I really like his fit in there. But Murray actually had a really good season last year. 78 games, the second most games he's played since 2018 when he was still in his second year with San Antonio. He actually averaged career high in points per game. 22.5 points is a career high for him. He's become a really good three-point shooter, 36% from three on 7 attempts. So the three-point shot has become real. Defensively, he has taken a drop since Atlanta, but also in Atlanta, it's not like he had any defense around him anyway. But now in New Orleans, where I think they were a top 10 defense, I think he can get back to that level. And I just really think DeJounte is going to have a really nice time in New Orleans. I think he's going to have a really much better year. A team that needs him, a team that needs his services and needs a player like him on there. He's one of the clutchest players in the league last year. He had multiple game winners, had some huge games, especially when Trae Young was not on the court. So I'm excited to see him back in that lead point guard role, because I think it's going to be really nice for him in New Orleans. At 40 on the list, we have Desmond Bane of the Memphis Grizzlies. Bane last year averaged 23 points, 4 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and a steal on 46, 38, 87 shooting. Bane only played in 42 games last year, the lowest of his career. The Grizzlies had a lot of stuff going on last season, but when he did play, he was incredible. Most of the time, he was a number one option because no Ja Morant, and he was great. Had some huge games, showed that he could consistently score, not just being a 3-point shooter, but be able to put the ball on the floor comfortably, being able to get to the mid-range area, get to the paint, play make for others. I mean, 5.5 assists per game. He's just a guy that I look at his numbers over the years. He just gets better every single season, and it's great to see that from Desmond Bane. Very excited to see him next year now with Ja Morant, because with Ja Morant back, it's just going to open up so much more for him. Kind of similar to what I said about Jaren, where it's going to open up so much more for him, where now you can't just guarding from the 3-point line. Now he's a guy that can also put the ball on the floor, and also give you 25 points if you need him to, or have a 30-point explosion. He can do that now. So Bane, just an incredible year last year. Unfortunately, the Grizzlies, he was hurt. He only played 42 games, and the Grizzlies did not have a good year. But excited to see what the improvement is next year for Dez. At 39 on the list, we have Derek White of the Boston Celtics. White last year averaged 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block on 46, 39, 90 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block on 45, 40, 92 shooting. Derek White is the best role player in the game. Just a guy that is going to do anything you ask of him, really. You need him to be a good 3-point shooter. I mean, now he's a good 3-point shooter. 39% from 3 on almost 7 attempts. He's going to fill in the offensive role. He's not going to take the ball to anyone's hands. He's going to get it in the flow of the offense, whether it's catch and shoot, whether it's one dribble, get to the rim, couple dribbles, kick out. He's going to make the right passes. Defensively, he's going to do all defensive second team, finish top 10 in DPOY voting. He's going to shoot efficiently. He's just a guy that doesn't really make mistakes on the court. And when you have players like that, you love him. Like, Derek White has just become a favorite around the league because he's a guy that doesn't make mistakes. He shoots the ball efficiently, going to do whatever is asked of him. He's a winning player. Again, like I said multiple times about some other guys, statistically, he might not have the numbers like a lot of other people do have on this list, and he might be higher than a lot of people that have better numbers or maybe are more featured on their team. But Derek White, when it comes to impact of the game, when it comes to winning basketball, and when it comes to things like that, there's not many people you're taking on a team over Derek White. At 38 on the list, we have Rudy Gobert of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Gobert last year averaged 14 points, almost 13 rebounds, and assists and 2 blocks on 66% shooting, 63% from the free throw line. In the playoffs, he averaged 12 points, 9 rebounds, and assists and a block on 61% shooting, 67% from the free throw line. Rudy won Defensive Player of the Year last year for the 4th time. All defensive first team, obviously. Defensively, what you're going to get from Rudy Gobert. Of course, a lot of talk about his playoff success and how his teams have not made it super far in the playoffs, even though he's one of the best defenders in the paint. Defensively, you want him in the paint. When he's in the paint and doing his thing, there's not many centers that are better, or even if many centers are guarding the paint and the basket better than Rudy Gobert. When it comes to the perimeter, of course he's not that good, because why would you ask a 7'1" big to guard the perimeter? That's just not fair. Now, there is some stuff, of course, you would like more offensively from Rudy, but at this point in his career, he's 32 years old. This is what Rudy Gobert is, and he's still one of the most impactful bigs in the league. And he's a guy that contributes to winning, at least in the regular season. The Utah Jazz, with Donovan Mitchell, those years, they're not a number 1 seed. They're not as good as Rudy Gobert. The Minnesota Timberwolves right now are not as good of a team as we think they are right now, where we consider them one of the top teams in the West and a potential conference finals appearance type team. If Rudy's not on that team, they're not that far. They're not that good. Well, not that good, but they're not as good as we expect them to be. They're not as good last season without Rudy Gobert. That's just a fact. So he contributes to winning in the regular season. Playoffs, of course, go ahead, you can say whatever you want, but Rudy Gobert is still one of the best defensive bigs and one of the best, kind of role player bigs we have in the NBA. At number 37 on the list, we have Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby last year averaged 21 points, 10 rebounds, almost 4 assists, a steal, and over 3.5 blocks on 46, 32, 79 shooting. Won Rookie of the Year, no doubt. Made all defensive first team, finished second in DPOY. Just an incredible, historic rookie season from Wemby. The things he was doing out there on the court, just didn't expect him to be so comfortable with doing early. Being able to score from all 3 levels early, being able to confidently shoot the 3 ball, being able to get to the paint, being able to handle the ball the way he does, being able to defensively make his impact as big of an impact as he did this early at 20 years old. is just absolutely incredible. And he still won't be 21 until about almost halfway through next season. Just incredible to see. He's on track, obviously, to be a superstar, one of the best players in the game, if not maybe the best player in the game. And yeah, being this high on the list as a rookie, already being a top 50 guaranteed player. If he doesn't make an all star team last year, it's going to be kind of disappointing, which is crazy to say about, again, a guy going in his second year at 20 years old. If he doesn't make the all star team next year, it would be kind of a disappointment in a sense. And I don't think it will be because of his play. It will probably be because his team record isn't that great because the Spurs are so young. But Wemby, just the sky's the limit for him. Not really much more to say. It's just that he's incredible. At 36 on the list, we have Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz. Markkanen last year averaged 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists on 48, 40, 90 shooting. An incredible year for Markkanen. I mean, ever since he got to Utah, he's become this otherworldly type player. Was an all-star, won MIP in 2023. Last year didn't make that. Played in 55 games, but still had this type of year. And really, it's the efficiency, man. It's really the efficiency that's just so amazing about this. I mean, he doesn't get his stats in 23 and 8 and 2 like everybody else gets those type of numbers. Like, he just is going to do it in the most efficient way without having to really take the air out of the ball and having to get it again, like how stars usually get those type of numbers. He's not a guy where you just give it to him on the wing and just like, all right, clear out, clear out, clear out, and let him go to work for 12 seconds. It's just, he's like, all right, catch and shoot. And if you close out, one dribble, 1 or 2 dribbles, I'm either going to pull it from mid-range or I'm going to get to the rim and dunk. Or it's like, all right, I'm in the post. I'm going to take a dribble or two, turn around, jumper. I'm going to spin around you and get to the rim. I'm going to cut, find me, back door. I'm going to jam. It's just like such efficient way to score. And he just does it at an insane level. I mean, 40% shooting from 3 on 8 threes attempts as a 7-foot big is just like unheard of. Dang near, and just the way he does it so efficiently, the way he just feels so comfortable. Like, this is the first time we've seen Lauri Markkanen feel comfortable and feel great, is with being in Utah. And just an amazing player, becoming one of the more underrated players in the league, probably one of the most efficient stars we have in the game right now. At 35 on the list, we have Scottie Barnes of the Toronto Raptors. Barnes last year averaged almost 20 points per game with 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and 1.5 blocks on 47, 34, 78 shooting. Great year from Barnes. Made the All-Star team last year after having a really winning Rookie of the Year and then kind of not really improving so much in his second year. He came out last season and was great. Career highs everywhere in terms of points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, efficiency, or 3-point shooting, free throw shooting, all career highs. Just incredible season from him, and it's become the building block of the future for the Toronto Raptors, where they just paid him $200 million. Just incredible. We know what he's going to bring you on the defensive end. Guy that can guard multiple different positions, going to get steals, going to get blocks, going to bring intensity on that end. And then offensively, really, where he stepped up his game in terms of he's become a comfortable 3-point shooter, even though the numbers, statistically, efficiency isn't there like when you see it. But the confidence he has now in shooting the 3 ball is really nice. The way he can get it in the mid-range, he is a really good ball handler for his size, a really good playmaker for his size, and the way he plays just does so many different things on the court. Just one of those guys where it feels like even if his shot isn't working or anything like that, he's going to do just so many different things on the court that's going to make up for it. Like, if his 3 ball isn't falling well, he's going to play defense, he's going to play make. If his playmaking isn't happening, well, at least he's going to score. If he's not having a tough time shooting the ball offensively, at least he's going to play defense. Like, it just, he has so many different things you can rely on in his game, and he's still only 23 years old, just getting better and better, and it's going to be great to see how much more he improves. At 34 on the list, we have Karl-Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Towns last season averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists on 50, 41, 87 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 19 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists on 46, 36, 85 shooting. Towns was an all-star last season. Just a really good year. Impressive year from Towns. After only playing 29 games of 23 with his first year with him and Rudy switching over to the 4. And the last year was a really, really good year. I mean, efficiency-wise, almost 50, 40, 90 from a big is incredible. Still was averaging 21 points per game with 8 rebounds. Defensively, he was bought in. And just be able to make the switch with him and Rudy and be able to seamlessly kind of adjust to it and still have a really, really good season is really nice from Towns down the playoffs. Very up and down, had a good game, bad game, good game, bad. It was very, very back and forth with the playoffs. But we know Towns is an all-star level player, really, really talented big man, transition over to the 4, and he's still giving you really, really nice numbers. It's really nice to see. So it was a really good, even though it wasn't his best statistical season for Towns, it was one of his more better and impressive seasons. At 33 on the list, we have Kristaps Porzingis of the Boston Celtics. Porzingis last season averaged 20.7 rebounds, 2 assists, and almost 2 blocks on 51, 37, 85 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 12 points, 4 rebounds, and assist, and a block on 46, 34, 91 shooting. Porzingis, when he got to Boston, just feels like the missing piece that they needed. Like, I feel like the Celtics are already a really, really good team, but when Porzingis was there, they were the team. When Porzingis was there, they were the number one, no question about it type of team. The way he can impact the game, he could be a guy that could score in the paint, score in the post, shoot the three ball really, really well, defend the rim. Just, it's kind of a cheat code in a sense at being for 7 for 3 and be able to do all those things. Injuries, unfortunately, have just been a part of Porzingis' career, only playing in 57 games in the regular season because they wanted to save him for the playoffs. And then he got to the playoffs and only played in 7 games in the postseason, which is really tough. But when he did play, he was still really solid. He has some nice moments, especially, I mean, that game 1 in the finals where he hasn't played in a while. He came in, had a really big game off the bench. Porzingis is still really, really good. It's just injuries, unfortunately, are just going to be a part of his career. But KP is honestly probably has looked the best he's looked since leaving New York, which is a really big sign. At 32 on the list, we have Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion last year averaged 23 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 57, 33, 70 shooting. Zion, I feel like, had a really underrated season last year. Played in 70 games the most of his career, even though statistically wasn't as great as in 2021 and 2023. But still was really good. I feel like this is his best all-around season. 23, 5, and 5 with a steal. Defensively, he was the best that we've probably seen him. He was playmaking really well, career high in assists per game, had the ball a lot more in his hands and making a lot better decisions, had some really nice stretches at some point throughout the season, and still looked like all-star Zion that we've seen. Fortunately, he had that tough end of the season where he got injured in the playing game against the Lakers, where he was having a dominant, maybe his best game of his career at that point, and missed the first round series against OKC, which is unfortunate. And of course, we know injuries have just been a part of Zion's career so far. But Zeke, right now, he looks healthy in the off season. Lost some weight. Hopefully, that can translate him to next season where he's not as injured. And we can see another year like last year where he played in 70 or around 70-ish games and get back to that all-star level. Because when Zion is playing, he's a star. At 31 on the list, we have Julius Randle of the New York Knicks. Randle last season averaged 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists on 47, 31, 78 shooting. He made the All-Star team, even though he had a very bad start to the season, and he still picked it up and made the All-Star team. He only played in 46 games last year. He did miss the second half of the season in the playoffs due to injury, which is really unfortunate because the Knicks really could have used him. But Randle has been a star for the Knicks the last couple of years. Ever since he got to New York, he's been just really, really good. 24, 9, and 5 is just amazing numbers for a guy like him. And I'm very excited to see him back now with this new Knicks team where a lot of pieces are brought in. A lot of people have more confidence. Very excited to see him back and playing because when he is playing, the Knicks are a better team, and he is an all-star when he does play. A forward that can do a lot of everything, can shoot the 3 ball, can get to the mid-range, get to the post, get to the paint, has become a really solid playmaker, a good rebounder. Probably going to have to get better rebounding because he's going to be probably playing a lot of center next season. But Randle, despite what you say about maybe his style of play and his game, still is a all-star caliber player. At number 30 on the list, we have Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat. Bam last year averaged 19 points, 10 rebounds, almost 4 assists, and a steal on 52, 35, 75 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists on 49, 20, 71 shooting. Bam, all-star last year, made all defensive first team, finished top 3 in DPOY voting. We know what he's going to do on the defensive end. Maybe the most versatile defender we have in the game in terms of a big that can guard the paint really well, can guard on the perimeter. You trust on that side of the floor. And then on offense, the way he can do so many different things as well, the way he can handle the ball for a big, the way he can score in the paint with athleticism as a big, the mid-range game, the way he can play make for other bigs, for other players at the big position. Just a guy that can do basically almost anything on the court. You'd love to have him as a second or maybe even first option because of what he's going to give you on both sides of the ball. If the three-point shooting does become a real thing and becomes a pretty decent three-point shooter, that's going to open up so much more not only for him but for the Miami Heat as well. Bam is just one of my favorite guys in the league, and I love to see him dominate like the way he has been dominating. At 29 on the list, we have Pascal Siakam of the Indiana Pacers. Siakam last season averaged 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists on 53, 34, 73 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 21 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 3 assists on 54, 29, 62 shooting. Pascal, I feel like, was just a big piece for the Indiana Pacers when he got traded over there. A guy that can get it in the half court, get it in the mid range and the post area. He's just dominant there. The 3-point shot has been decent, even though the numbers didn't look great in the playoffs. Still is a respectable 3-point shooter. The way he can pass the ball, the rebounding, the defense that he brings. Just, I feel like one of the more underrated players that we have in the league. I've been saying for the last couple of years, I think Pascal's been pretty underrated because he's maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing type player or the fanciest or anything like that, but he just gets the job done. And the way he's improved so much every single season is great. And now I think with a full off season in Indiana, he's just going to be even better next year. Won't be surprised if he makes the All-Star team next season. And just love that he's in Indiana because that's a place that I feel like they really, really need him in Indiana. I feel like he just fits in so well with that team. Number 28 on the list, we have DeMar DeRozan. Played with the Bulls last year. Now he's a Sacramento King. DeRozan last year averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 48, 33, 85 shooting. He finished second in Clutch Player of the Year voting. Led the league in minutes per game at 34 years old is incredible. DeRozan now in Sacramento. He's been just really good in Chicago. Those 3 years he was great, even though the team didn't have so much success. DeRozan was still really, really good. And at 35 years old, is still a guy that can give you 22 to 25 points per game, which is not something you could say about many other guys. So a lot of credit to DeMar DeRozan for being able to, at this age, still be able to do the things he do, especially without a 3-point shot. Especially being a guy that is known for not really shooting threes and being the mid-range king. In today's day and age where everything really is about 3-point shooting, DeRozan has defied those odds and is still an all-star level player. Very interested to see how he fits in Sacramento with the Kings. With DeMar and Domantas, I think he'd be a guy that, can give them an easy bucket whenever they need him to. He can play make pretty well. We don't know about defensively yet, but offensively at least I think he can fit in with the Sacramento Kings team and see maybe he can take this team to the next level. Who knows? But I'm very excited to see DeMar in Sacramento and see him continue to do the things he's doing. At number 27 on the list, we have Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. Butler last year averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 50, 41, 85 shooting. Jimmy, we know what Jimmy is, even though statistically in the regular season hasn't been as dominant as we expect. Last year he only played in 60 games, didn't make an all-star team or anything like that. The last couple of years, last few years, just hasn't really been a guy that's played so many games. But we know what he's going to do in the playoffs. When it comes to playoff time, you know what he can do. Especially look at the last couple of years ever since he got to Miami. Just been a playoff monster, And so he just gets so much respect and so much high on the list than a lot of other guys because of that. Because when it comes down to the big moments, you know that you can rely on him to deliver in that regard. It's just that regular season hasn't been as great, and now, of course, with all the things going on about the possible extension, maybe him going into free agency, maybe him being traded. It kind of is showing that we're going to have a good regular season from Jimmy Butler, which I'm very excited for to see him if he can get back to that NBA All-Star, maybe All-NBA type guy that he was, even though he is older and he has just turned 35 years old, still is really, really good. And so very interested to see what kind of Jimmy Butler we get in this regular season. At 26 on the list, we have Damian Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks. Damian last season averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal on 42, 35, 92 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 31 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 42, 41, 97 shooting. Damian, his first year in Milwaukee, things didn't go as amazing as we thought. Had a lot of stuff going on personally. Got to Milwaukee very late, so kind of thrown in to the fire with Milwaukee. And was still an all-star starter, which is a little bit, maybe not popular opinion, but he still made all-star starter. And in the playoffs, he still had some big moments, even though Giannis was not there. But I'm looking forward to a bounce-back year from Dame next year. I'm looking forward to him going back to that 25 to 27 point per game type Damian Lillard that we know he can be, a guaranteed all-star, maybe all-NBA type player. That's what I'm expecting for Dame next year. Now that he has a full offseason in Milwaukee to train and work with his teammates and all of that, I'm really looking forward to next year. The Bucks in general, but Damian Lillard, I'm very looking forward to next season to see how he adjusts now after having a full year with Giannis, a full offseason to train. Again, I'm expecting Dame to come back next year and have a more typical Damian Lillard season than what we saw last year. At 25 on the list, we have Trey Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Young last season averaged 25 points, 2 rebounds, and 10 assists with a steal on 43, 37, 85 shooting. Trey still had a really, really good season, even though the Hawks the last couple of years have not been as great or record wise and winning as we saw back in 2021. He still made the All Star team last season as a replacement. Still had a really good year. 25 and 10 assists is not easy to do. And I feel like Trey has just become very disrespected because the Hawks haven't been winning. And a lot of people have kind of turned on Trey Young and been like, oh, well, can he really be a number one on a team? Can he really lead a team to winning? Is he going to get traded soon? Are the Hawks going to blow it up? All this stuff. But I mean, 25 points and 10 assists. How many guys can give you that consistently? Trey Young, ever since his rookie year, has been giving you 26 and 9, 25 and 9, 28 and 9, 26 10. Last year, 25 and 10. Almost 11 assists, actually. Like, how many guys can do that? Not many. So Trey has just been super, super incredible. Has become very disrespected, and I feel like people are kind of forgetting how amazing Trey Young is as an offense by himself. But I'm expecting now DeJounte Murray's not there anymore. Maybe Trey Young has the ball more in his hands, and maybe we get more of a typical Trey Young season and a better Trey Young year this upcoming season. At 24 on the list, we have Kyrie Irving of the Dallas Mavericks. Irving last season averaged 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 49, 41, 90 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 22 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 46, 39, 85 shooting. Kyrie, just great to see him do this in Dallas, where in Cleveland he was number 2 option behind LeBron, and that was where he's at his best. Then, of course, at the Boston, Brooklyn, now back in Dallas, where he's behind Luka Doncic, and just to see him kind of accept that role again and do the things he was doing in that role is amazing. I mean, 25, 5 and 5 for 6'2" guard, and Kyrie is great. Defensively, he was locked in, the most we've seen probably in his career. The efficiency was there. The playoffs, he has so many big moments, diving on the floor for loose balls, just being a part of the team and sacrificing some of his game for the team. Just incredible to see Kyrie at 32 years old still be able to play and do the things he's doing while also kind of, again, impacting the game the way we haven't seen him impact the game in a very long time. It's really, really great to see that. At number 23 on the list, we have Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic. Banchero last year averaged 22 points, almost 7 rebounds, and 5 assists on 45, 36, 72 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal on 45, 40, 75 shooting. Paolo, I love Paolo, one of my favorite guys in the league. Made the All Star team last year. Just has done so much for a guy that's only 21 and about to enter his third year. When Rookie of the Year, no doubt. All Star last season, led his team to a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference, averaged 27, 8 and 4 on amazing efficiency in his first playoff series. Just has done everything you've asked of him so far throughout his first 2 seasons. Like, he's on track to be one of the best players in the league. His game, a big 4 that can handle the ball really well, can play make, can score in the post. The mid-range game is better. The 3-point shot has become solid. Defensively, he's going to give it his all. Like, just does so many different things. It's all the traits and talent to be a future superstar in this league. It's already got the Orlando Magic at a point where we didn't expect the Magic to be this early already. So just can't wait to see what next year, his third season, looks like, and can't wait to see the rest of his career pan out because, again, he's on track to be a superstar in this league. At 22 on the list, we have De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings. Fox last season averaged 26 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on 46, 37, 73 shooting. De'Aaron, I feel like, is one of the more underrated players, especially underrated stars in the league, because, I mean, there's so many amazing point guards right now in the NBA, and Sacramento isn't the biggest market, so he doesn't get as much, attention. But De'Aaron is incredible. I mean, last year, career high in points per game, career high in rebounds, led the league in steals. 37% from 3 is the second most of his career on almost 8 attempts is incredible. He's just gotten better every single season. He's become a star. Had a really good case to be an all-star last season, but didn't make it because, again, the point guard, the guard category in the Western Conference especially is just absolutely insane. But I love De'Aaron Fox. He's really, really, really good. Interested to see how the Kings look this season, how much better he gets now this year. He's still young. He's 26 years old still, which is kind of crazy because I feel like he's been in the league for so long, but he's still only 26. Has so much more game left in him. And yeah, I love De'Aaron. He's one of my favorite guards to watch in the NBA. The speed he has, the athleticism to go with, the mid-range shooting. He's now becoming a top 3-point shooter, good finisher. He's going to get his steals, he's going to play solid defense, he's going to be clutch. Just so many great things about De'Aaron. At 21 on the list, we have Paul George of the played with the Clippers last year. Now he's a Philadelphia 76er. George last year averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.5 steals on 47, 41, 90 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 19.5 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal on 41, 36, 84 shooting. PG made the All-Star team last year. Played in 74 games, the most he's played since 2019, the MVP, top 3 MVP season in OKC, which is really nice to see. Made the All-Star team. Had a really solid year, efficiency-wise, probably the most efficient year of his career, which is really nice. The playoffs, unfortunately, were not as great to him. He's very up and down in the playoffs, but PG is still really, really good. Love the fit. Love him going to Philadelphia, where he becomes a third option with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, who are also really, really good players. And now he just has to kind of fit in there. Now the guy that's going to really take the ball out of those two guys' hands. He's going to catch and shoot the ball. He's going to defend well. Guy, obviously, that can give you 22 to 25 points per game, can have some big 30, 35 point nights if you need him to, especially with Joel's injury history. Just really love that with him. And now he's on probably one of his best teams and will have best chances to win an NBA championship, and I can't wait to see it. At number 20 on the list, we have Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. Maxey last season averaged almost 26 points per game with 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal on 45, 37, 86 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged almost 30 points per game with 5 rebounds, 6 assists on 47, 40, 89 shooting. What a huge season for Tyrese Maxey. Made the All-Star team, won Most Improved Player, was amazing in the playoffs, coming off a year where he was really good in 2023. They had the James Harden situation, and then with Maxey playing good, they kind of gave the Sixers comfortability and being like, we can get rid of James Harden. We have Tyrese Maxey. Didn't expect as big of a jump as he had to come this early. Has already become a star player like this early. He's still only 23 years old. Still has so much more room to grow. The efficiency he has, being a guy that once again doesn't really need the ball in his hands a whole lot to be able to give you big numbers and to be able to shoot the ball super efficiently on catch and shoot, but also being able to play in transition, but also getting his own as well. And then the playoffs, he had so many huge moments. Of course, he had the game 5 where he brought the Sixers back from the dead into winning a game in overtime in New York. Just incredible stuff from Tyrese Maxey. And he's been a guy that once again has improved every single season since he's gotten to the NBA. And I can't wait to see how much more improvement we see from him this season. At number 19 on the list, we have Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers. Halliburton last season averaged 20 points, almost 4 rebounds, led the league with almost 11 assists and a steal on 47, 36, 85 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 18 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal on 48, 38, 85 shooting. He was an all-star, made All-NBA third team. A great year from Tyrese Halliburton. Start off the year super, super hot. Was on fire, was a lock for everything, basically. And then he had the injury, the hamstring injury, which, kind of diminished his play a little bit. And you could tell he was injured, and then got to the playoffs and was a little bit up and down. But Halliburton still had an incredible season, has become a star for this Pacer team. Led the league with assists, a guy that consistently the last 2 years has averaged 20 points and 10 assists. It's just been incredible. All-star type player, all-NBA caliber type of guy. Just so many great things in Halliburton. I mean, his ability to be able to run an offense. Like, he's a guy that now you look at it and you're like, if the Pacers aren't a top offense, it's going to be kind of a weird season. If it's not, the guy that consistently can give you now 20 points, 10 assists, would like to see maybe even more in the offensive end, where you can definitely tell sometimes, especially in the playoffs, where he wasn't being as aggressive. If he can be a lot more aggressive and find that really good balance between scoring and passing, man, he's going to be a guy that is going to be just one of the top point guards in the league. Like, he already is, but that's just going to make his game even better. Number 18 on the list, we have Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Morant last year averaged 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists on 47, 27, 81 shooting. Morant only played in 9 games last year due to suspension, and then had a shoulder injury that forced him to miss the year. But in those 9 games, he was absolutely incredible. And we know who Ja Morant is. The last couple years, he's been an all-star, all-NBA caliber type of player. Human highlight reel, one of the most fun players to watch in the game, and it's led his Grizzlies team to becoming one of the better teams in the Western Conference. Now there's been some off the court things that have really changed a lot of the perception around Ja Morant, forced him to miss a lot of time the last couple of seasons. But now, hopefully he's learned from his mistakes, and hopefully now he's back to fully just being about basketball, because when he's out there, again, he's one of the most fun players to watch, and he's just incredible. He's a superstar when he's out there on the court. Not many people are better than Ja Morant if he's out there playing ball. So I just can't wait to see him back on the court next season, hopefully for good. At 17 on the list, we have Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. Brown last season averaged 23 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on 50, 35, 70 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged almost 24 points per game with almost 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on 51, 32, 66 shooting. Brown was an All-Star last year and won Finals MVP and Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Had a really good case to making All-NBA as well. Just incredible season from Jaylen Brown. The efficiency was there. Defensively, you know what he's going to give you. Offensively, just being so consistent and fully becoming a star player, and then really solidified it in the playoffs where he had so many huge moments. Won Finals MVP on a team that already has a superstar in Jason Tatum. That's just incredible stuff from JB. Yeah, just really, really good. I mean, the improvement he has gone through every single season. Another one of those guys I feel that just gets better and better as years go on. And just the way he's at now, where he's one of the top players in the league and he's Finals MVP and he's this type of caliber player, just incredible to see that from Jaylen Brown. I can't wait to see more of it. At 16 on the list, we have Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mitchell last season averaged 26 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal on 46, 36, 86 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 29 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal on 47, 35, 81 shooting. Mitchell has become incredible. The last couple of years, always been incredible. Since he's come to Cleveland, he's reached another level, which I didn't think was possible. Last year was an All-Star, only played in 55 games, so he didn't qualify for All-NBA or stuff like that. And then playoffs, just again, absolutely incredible. The last 2 games in the Orlando Magic series were absolutely insane, where he scored all the team's points in the fourth quarter and then had, I think, more than half the team's points in that game. Then game 7, I forgot how many he had exactly, but had another very huge game. Fortunately, didn't play the entire Boston series due to an injury, but we know what he's like in the playoffs. Just an incredible player Donovan Mitchell has become. I mean, just a guy that is going to do so much. Is going to be, I mean, the spider for a reason. You know, he's like a superhero. He's shorter, smaller, stockier, but he's going to be able to shoot the 3 ball really well, going to get to the mid range, amazing handle, get to the rim and dunk on you. Defensively, he's going to try. Just does so many amazing things on the court and has become another level of star since becoming a Cleveland Cavalier. At number 15 on the list, we have Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings. Sabonis last season averaged 19 points, over 13.5 rebounds, which led the league, and 8 assists on 59, 38, 70 shooting. He was made All-NBA third team, finished top 10 in MVP voting and DPOY voting. Just incredible season last year for Sabonis. One of the more not talked about seasons that should be talked about, because 19, 13, and 8 from a big man is absolutely incredible numbers. Led the league in double-doubles and triple-doubles. Just was absolutely insane. Made All-NBA third team without being an All-Star, because then people realize, oh yeah, wait, Sabonis is actually really good. You know, an offensive hub as a center position that he's going to score really well inside, not going to be able to contest him too much in the interior, in the post. His passing ability has become incredible. His rebounding ability, obviously, is there. He's led the league in rebounding back-to-back seasons. Just amazing stuff from Domantas Sabonis. That's coming to Sacramento. He's hit another level, which is amazing. You know, again, I feel like one of the more underrated players now in the league, because he's not really talked about as one of the best bigs or anything like that, even though, I mean, 19, 13, and 8. I still can't get over it. 19, 13, and 8 for Domantas Sabonis. Those are incredible numbers. Not many big men can do things like that besides like Nikola Jokic, besides like all-time amazing centers. So just huge credit to Domantas Sabonis, and I can't wait to see what's in store for this year. At 14 on the list, we have Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. AD last year averaged 24 points, 12 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks on 55, 27, 81 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 27 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block on 63% shooting, 80% from the free throw line. AD has just had one of his best years of his career last year. Made the All-Star team, All-NBA second team, All-Defensive first team, finished top 5 in DPOY voting, played in 76 games in most of his career high in rebounds per game. Just amazing stuff from AD. You know, he's been a guy that's just been bashed by the media for the past 3 seasons, and now having a healthy year where he was incredible just should stop all that. We should know now AD is here, and AD can have one of these great seasons and still play at this elite level. Now, it unfortunately didn't really help the Lakers in terms of team success and winning, but just having AD on the court is just super impactful. The way he's transitioned to a big man now in this league. Really, really good rebounder last year, career high in rebounds per game again. Defensively, has just continuing to be one of the best defensive bigs we have in the game. And then offensively, him being able to be more consistent this season, be able to be on the court more, It's just great to watch. It's great to see AD on the court because we know when he's on the court, he's going to play very well, very, very well. So, very excited to see more of Anthony Davis. At number 13 on the list, we have Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. Booker last year averaged 27 points, 4.5 rebounds, and almost 7 assists on 49, 36, 88 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 27.5 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal on 49, 35, 95 shooting. Made All NBA third team, was an All Star last season. Devin Booker can continue to do amazing things. One of my favorite guys to watch in the league. The way he can work in the mid range game, the 3-point shot, just feels the game's just so easy for him. And now he's become a really good playmaker, being the primary point guard now, averaging almost 7 assists per game last season. Just love to see this transition for Devin Booker for the team. Devin had an amazing playoffs last year. Had a really big game 4 that really boosted up his playoff numbers. But still, we know what Devin Booker is. He's a star in this league. And the way he played in the Olympics as well was really, really nice. Just love Devin Booker. Love it. He's 27 years old, still now entering the prime of his career. Very excited to see what lays in store for him more, and interested to see how the Suns respond after having a kind of disappointing season last year. Very interested to watch the Suns, but more importantly, to watch Devin Booker and see how he continues to grow, especially in this new role now of him kind of being the lead guy and having to be the point guard now. At number 12 on the list, we have Kawhi Leonard of the LA Clippers. Leonard last season averaged 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on 52, 41, 88 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals on 45% from the field, 66% from the free throw line. Kawhi was All-Star, made All-NBA second team, played in 68 games, which is the most he's played since 2017 in San Antonio. Really nice to see. The efficiency was on another level, the most efficient season of his career. Highest field goal percentage, second highest 3-point percentage. Just insane to see him become this way. He played in 68 games. Unfortunately, he did get injured at the end of the season and only played in 2 games in their first round series where he did not look great in that series, which has really been unfortunate. That Kawhi injuries has just been a defining moment in his career. But Kawhi is still showing that he's still able to be an all-star, all-NBA type of Kawhi when he's healthy. I mean, last year was an amazing year for Kawhi. Again, the efficiency was there, the defense was there, the big moments, all of it was there. And unfortunately it ended in a tough way. And now he has a big chance this year without Paul George, with now him and James Harden, a bunch of guys, maybe to have another type of year this year where maybe if he can have a big year, be healthy, and lead his team to a playoff spot with this type of team, it'll bring a lot of, good attention towards Kawhi. How much do I believe in it? I don't know, because he did get pulled out of Team USA this offseason, so we don't know how healthy he really is, and we never really know kind of how healthy Kawhi Leonard is, I guess. But if Kawhi is out there and playing, this Clipper team has a chance to be decent at least. At number 11 on the list, we have Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Edwards last year averaged almost 26 points per game with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 46, 35, 83 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and 1.5 steals on 48, 40, 81 shooting. Edwards made All-NBA second team, was an All-Star, finished top 10 in MVP and Clutch Player of the Year voting. Huge year from Anthony Edwards, career highs, points, assists, efficiency-wise from field, all of that career highs. And then the playoffs. The playoffs really took a different step where he swept the Phoenix Suns in the first round, had some huge moments throughout the entire run of the playoffs, got all the way to the conference finals. We all know the potential he has. Ever since his rookie year, we know about the potential he has. And now, he just turned 23 years old. He's still so young, and we already have him at kind of this level, especially with Team USA this offseason, was really, really nice. And expecting another huge step from me. Anthony Edwards, probably maybe even finishing top 5 in MVP voting, being All NBA again, All Star, having career year. Just expect that next year, because Edwards is that type of player, and expect him to have a really big playoff as well and lead this Timberwolves team maybe to another conference finals appearance, because that's who Anthony Edwards is. Like, he's just one of those type of guys where you could just see it as soon as he steps on the court. Like, oh, this dude is one of those dudes. He's one of the best in the game, and I cannot wait for the rest of his career, but especially for next season. At number 10 on the list, we have Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. Brunson last season averaged 28 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists on 48, 41, or 48, 40, 84 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 32 points with 3 rebounds, 7.5 assists on 44, 31, 77 shooting. Was an all-star, made All-NBA second team, finished top 5 in MVP, MIP, and Clutch Player of the Year voting. Just a magical and incredible season from Jalen Brunson after having a really big first year in New York. We were like, all right, how much better is he really going to get? I was honestly kind of questioning, okay, how much better is Brunson going to get, really? And he got even crazier. He was finished top 5 in scoring, was a true legitimate MVP candidate, all NBA second team member. He's become the star of New York. He's brought the Knicks back into being an actual good team, had some huge playoff games. Like, it's incredible. It is actually incredible to see Jalen Brunson get to this level where no one, even if you're the biggest Jalen Brunson fan in Dallas, you would expected that this could happen. He could be this, this type of player where he's legitimately like on the verge of being a superstar right now. A lot of that's because he plays in New York, but even still, like, just incredible to watch Jalen Brunson work and to play. And now it's like, okay, what's next? What's next for him? I'm expecting kind of a similar season next year because I mean, who's really going to stop him at this point? Expecting another All Star, All NBA, more MVP votes. Expecting the Knicks to be one of the best teams in the league, especially. Just incredible to see Jalen Brunson kind of hit this type of level. Like, who would expect to come into this year that Jalen Brunson will be in consideration for being a top 10 player in the NBA? I wouldn't have expected it, but look, here we are. At number 9 on the list, we have Kevin Durant of the Phoenix Suns. Durant last year averaged 27 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a block on 52, 41, 85 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 26 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1.5 blocks on 55, 41, 82 shooting. All-star, made All-NBA second team, finished top 10 in MVP voting, even though the Suns themselves didn't have the most successful year that we expected and had a very tough playoff exit. Durant, still incredible at age 35, about to be 36. He's still like this. He's still really good. He's still a guy that can give you 27, 6 and 5 on amazing efficiency. It's just incredible how Kevin Durant is age and he's still on top of one of the top players in the game at this age. Just incredible to watch KD still play and still do his thing. Love Kevin Durant so much. And just a guy that, yeah, there's not really much more to say about Kevin Durant at this point in his career. He's done everything you can ask him to do. Now at this point, it's just about what more. What more can we see? What more can he give us? And very excited, like I said earlier, about Devin Booker. Really excited to watch this Phoenix team in general to see how much they get better this year, especially after having a tough year last year, making some good free agency additions. But one thing we know for sure is that Kevin Durant's going to come and he's going to play like a star. At number 8 on the list, we have LeBron James of the LA Lakers. LeBron last year averaged 25 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal on 54, 41, 75 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 27 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals and a block on 56, 38, 74 shooting. Was an all-star, made All-NBA third team. Still incredible. LeBron at age 39 years old, after 21 years, is still LeBron James. Still really good, still All-NBA top caliber player, still one of the best in the league. Had a really good year. 71 games is the most he's played since Cleveland in 2018. 41% from 3, the highest of his career, so he's still getting better at this age. Just insane. There's not much more to say about LeBron James at this point. Everything has kind of been said. Really, it's just about, okay, how much longer does he have left and how much more can he give us? At this point. Insane to see. I mean, this guy's he's about to be 40 years old in his 22nd year and probably still give you a 25, 7 and 5 or 7 and 7 type of season. It's just insane to watch. And then with Team USA this offseason, still being the best player on the court at this age in FIBA, winning FIBA MVP and winning the gold for the US. Just incredible stuff to watch as well. LeBron James, just one of the greatest ever. At number 7 on the list, we have Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Tatum last year averaged almost 27 points per game with 8 rebounds and almost 5 assists and a steal on 47, 37, 83 shooting. And in the playoffs, he averaged 25 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists and a steal on 42, 28, 86 shooting. He was an all-star, made All-NBA first team, finished top 6 in MVP voting, won an NBA championship. Just still incredible stuff from Tatum. Made All-NBA first team 3 years in a row. Just doing incredible things, and now finally has that championship trophy. Even though he didn't win Finals MVP or any of that, still incredible. One of the best players we have in the league. I said it more in my top 10 power forward video where I talk really in depth, but a lot of people still, don't. I don't even know if I want to don't believe in Jason Tatum. But a lot of stuff has been said about Jason Tatum that's just really stupid. Honestly, like the guy has done so much. I mean, you got to remember, Jason Tatum is 26 years old. He's already done so much. He's already been in the playoffs every year of his career. All NBA first team multiple times. All Star multiple times. Has won a championship now. Statistically, has done so many different things. Like the only thing he really doesn't have right now is an MVP award, which I don't know if he's gonna get because there's so many great players in the league. But if he does have a year where he comes in and feels like, you know what, I'm gonna go win MVP, he could very much do it. You know, to shut everybody up. Like Tatum has just done so many things in the game, and despite what I guess Twitter or anything says about him, Jason Tatum is still he is one of the greatest that we have in the game, and is going to go down. Maybe I mean he's on track to have a career where he's going to be a certified Hall of Famer. At number 6 on the list, we have Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors. Curry last year averaged 26 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5 assists on 45, 40, 92 shooting. Was an All-Star, made All-NBA third team, and won Clutch Player of the Year. At 36 years old, another guy that's just withstanding the test of time. It feels like he's just getting better as he's getting older at this point, which is incredible. Steph, still All NBA caliber player, still an All Star. Unfortunately, team success has not been as amazing the last few seasons, and right now the Warriors are in a very weird state. But Steph is still Steph. He is so good still. Like it's just not much more to say about Steph. I mean, he's incredible. He's one of the best we've seen in the game. Maybe arguably the best point guard of all time. Just absolutely incredible. Even in the Olympics this year, the last 2 games of the Olympics were just huge moments that we're not gonna forget for a while. Like the highlight reel of Stephen Curry at the end of his career. That Olympic moment is gonna be on there. The last 2 games were just absolutely incredible. And can't wait to watch the show of Stephen Curry still for however long we have left of him. At number 5 on the list, we have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander of the OKC Thunder. Shea last year averaged 30 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals on 53, 35, 87 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 30 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a block on 49, 43, 79 shooting. Made the All-Star team, All-NBA first team, finished second in MVP voting, third in Clutch Player of the Year. Just incredible from Shea. The last 2 years have been absolutely insane for him, being a certified, legitimate MVP candidate, a guy that maybe even could win MVP this upcoming season because the Thunder, at their number 1 seed last year, you assume they're going to be one of the top teams in the West this year. You assume Shea, I mean, he's still 26, still has a lot more to give in the league, and you assume he's going to be top 5 in MVP voting again, probably going to be All-NBA first team again, going to be an All-Star starter again, going to be one of the top players in Clutch Player of the Year voting again. Just incredible that Shea has become this type of player. And then finally, we got to see him in the playoffs as a number 1 option, and he still averaged 37 and 6 with a steal and a block on good efficiency. So it's real. You can still tell that Shea is a superstar candidate, a superstar caliber player. Again, a guy that's going to be in the MVP conversation for the next couple of years, maybe even win one. Who knows? It'd be awesome to see him win one. Just one of the smoothest games in the league, one of the best players in the league on both ends as well. Could give it to you on the defensive end too. And the Thunder are going to be one of the best teams in the league for a while. So expect Shea to be near the top of this list for the next few years to come. At number 4 on the list, we have Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid last year averaged 34 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block on 53, 38, 88 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 33 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and 1.5 blocks on 44, 33, 86 shooting. Was an All-Star last year. Unfortunately, didn't qualify for any awards because he only played in 39 games due to injury. Came back in the playoffs basically almost on one leg and with Bell's palsy, and still was averaging 33, 10, and 5 assists. Like, what is still on a block? It's so incredible stuff from Joel. Say a lot. Joel Embiid talked about a whole lot, obviously, for not much playoff success, for fouls, for a lot of different things, Joel's talked about. But you cannot take away that Joel Embiid is one of the most gifted players that we have in the game, one of the most talented players we've seen in a very long time, as a 7 foot, 280-pound big that can do the things Joel Embiid can do, can score in the paint, literally needs a double team every time he touches the ball. Even when he doesn't have the ball, you have to pay close attention to him because he's just one of those guys where he is dominant. In every sense of the word, he is dominant on both ends. It's just really, we haven't seen a full healthy playoff run yet from Joel Embiid. And once he gets that, it's like, dang, what more can we really say about him? He's going to be a legitimate MVP candidate, All NBA, first team type of guy, going to finish top 10 in DPOY voting for years to come. still. And he just got paid, just got an extension to stay in Philadelphia for a very long time, which I like to see that. And yeah, Joel, really all he needs is that one playoff run, man, and he's good. But I mean, one of the most talented and gifted players we've seen in the NBA. Number 3 on the list, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis last year averaged 30 points, 11.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, a steal and a block on 61, 27, 65 shooting. Made All-Star, All-NBA first team, top 5 in MVP voting, top 10 in DPOY voting. Unfortunately, didn't get to see him in the playoffs last year due to injury, which has been unfortunate the last 2 years. We have not been able to see him at his full health, and it's really messed up the Milwaukee Bucks. But Giannis, just incredible stuff. I mean, he's 30 years old now, and about to be 30 years old, and it's still getting better and better. I mean, he's getting better with age. It's incredible. The last couple of years, he's been a guaranteed All-NBA first team, guaranteed top 5 MVP voting, guaranteed top of Defense Player of the Year voting. It's a guaranteed. It's guaranteed every year, and he's still getting better and better and better. I mean, last year, career high in assists per game, a steal and a block, 61% shooting. I mean, averaging 30, 11, and 6 on 60% shooting. Like that's unheard of. That's a video game. That's literally NBA 2K type of stuff that he's doing. And he's doing it right now, right here, and it's incredible to watch. And like I said earlier, when I talk about Damian Lillard with the Bucks, I'm expecting a huge Milwaukee Bucks season next year. Next year, I'm expecting the Bucks to come out and have a big year, especially after the last couple of years. Injuries have really affected their playoff success after winning a championship in 2021. And I'm expecting the Bucks to come out and have a big year next year. And I want to see Giannis back in the playoffs at full health again, man. Really do, because when he's on the court, there's not many people better than him on the court. At number 2 on the list, we have Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Jokic last year averaged 26 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, and a steal on 58, 36, 81 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged 28 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal on 54, 26, 90 shooting. Won MVP for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. All-NBA first team, All-Star, top 5 in Clutch Player of the Year voting. It's Nikola Jokic. You know what you're going to get from him. He's going to finish near the top in MVP. He's going to be on the first team. He's going to be an all-star. He's going to give you 26, around 25, 26 points, around 12, 13 rebounds, and around 9 assists per game with a steal on amazing efficiency. And he's going to dominate in the playoffs. That's just what he's going to do at this point. Jokic, yeah, there's not much more really to say when it gets to players like Jokic's level. He does everything on the court that you ask him to do. He's dominant. He's got the ring now. You want to see him get back to being in the finals and being in the conference finals again. You know, just incredible stuff. Nikola Jokic is arguably the best player in the world. Right now, he's my number 2, but he easily could be number 1. I mean, it's just really, Nikola Jokic is just one of the most elite players we've seen in the game. Going to be a Hall of Famer. Going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now it's just about like, all right, how much more can he do? And he's 29 years old still. He's not even in his 30s yet. And it's just incredible to watch Nikola Jokic dominate the game. And our number 1 on the list, we have Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. Luka last year led the league in scoring, averaging almost 34 points per game with 9 rebounds, almost 10 assists, and a steal on 48, 38, 78 shooting. In the playoffs, he averaged almost 29 points per game with 9.5 rebounds, 8 assists, and almost 2 steals on 44, 32, 76 shooting. Was All-Star, All-NBA first team, finished 3rd in MVP voting. Made all the way to the NBA Finals last year. An incredible season from Luka. Won the scoring title. Just insane stuff. For me personally, he's the best player in the game, best player in the world. But you know, it's all up to, you know, between him and Jokic really, or Giannis really, you can put in that conversation too. But Luka, the way he dominates the game, is just incredible to watch. It looks so easy for him. He could do whatever he wants, kind of on the court whenever he wants to. The only thing he hasn't done is win a championship or win MVP, which you assume he's going to do, at least win MVP at some point in his career. I would bet on him to win next year. You know, you could have made a good argument that last year he should have won MVP. You know, but he's going to win MVP at some point. It's really about the championship. And he made it all the way to the finals. And amazing to see him finally get over that hump and finally make it all the way to the NBA Finals. At this point in his career, again, he's 25 years old, doing all this, by the way, too. And, you know, he was on a championship team. Oh, he's on a team that made it all the way to the finals and they got better this offseason. So, you know, there would be one of my teams. I predict they're going to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference. They're going to have a chance to make it to the NBA Finals again, because as long as Luka Doncic is on the court, I don't think there's anyone better than him on the court right now.
So as long as he is on the court, they're going to have a chance to win in any series, any game, because Luka is just that amazing.
And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Those are my top 50 players list in the NBA. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said earlier in the video, if you disagree with anything, that's okay. It's all opinion based, really, kind of. So leave it down in the comment section what you would change, what your list would look like, or anything like that. Feel free to, be really appreciated. And if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, do all the stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It really upset a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.